got into my teens and it was the Attitude Era. You were either Rock or Austin. I'm a rock guy, not a Stone Cold guy. I'm a rock guy. He's a character. He's an entertainer, and that's me. I'm not a badass. I'm an entertainer.
I wrestle as a hotshot Joey Scott, and I've been wrestling since 2008.
So my debut was in December 2005. So what's that? 13 years now. Been wrestling for 13 years.
I got into wrestling, so I've been watching it since I was a little kid really. I used to collect all the action figures and watch it on TV with my nan and granddad, my mum and dad. Even though my dad's not really a big fan of it, I still made the whole family watch it.
I've always loved wrestling. Ever since I can remember, I've always loved wrestling. And it's all I've ever wanted to do. All throughout school, I've always wanted to be a professional wrestler.
And one day, my mum found a training school on the internet. I contacted a school called K-Star Wrestling, which was based in Great Bar in Birmingham.
I grew up in a small town called Tenbury Wells in Worcestershire, which is in the middle of nowhere. We have one bus to any city, that's Worcester. So to get anywhere is a nightmare unless you can drive. So to train or to go training, my dad would give me a lift up to a smaller village called Killian, which is 5 miles away. From there, I would get a bus from Killian to Kidderminster. I would then get on a train from Kidderminster to Birmingham, transfer to another train which would go from Birmingham city centre to Perry Bar, and then I'd walk about a mile from Perry Bar bus station up to the training centre, and then I'd do that all in reverse on the way home. So it's probably over 2-hour trip to train, and then a 2-hour trip back every Sunday.
So I think one of my top selling points is my ability to be able to work a variety of different shows. I like working more indie shows because there's a chance to obviously network more. People know who you are as they follow you on social media and they'll retweet your stuff. You also get to do some cool moves. I like working a lot with Killian because we get to bust out of top rope Canadian destroyer. But I also think it's important to be able to work to a crowd you're actually performing in front of. So if you're working, say, a holiday camp show, there's no point doing a Canadian destroyer because the crowd's just not going to get it. If you can work a crowd that don't necessarily like wrestling and you can make them enjoy it and leave thinking, yeah, that was actually a pretty good show, then you're halfway there to being able to entertain anyone really.
For me, the one thing that pulled me into wrestling was the characters. So many people in today's British wrestling scene, they're just themselves or they're just wrestlers. They come out in black trunks, black shorts, black bikers, no colour, and their name is their real name, and they kick and they punch and they forearm. Everyone does it. It's boring. I want to go the absolute other direction because there's no one doing it. So if I can come up with as many different hokey characters as possible, for example, I've been an Indian, Luis Suarez from football. Now doing a mad doctor scientist gimmick. I've been a pirate. Everything that's far away from badass as possible, I'll do that because that's what the kids will remember. And that's who comes to our shows. Majority is kids, and they will never remember the name Jake Gittens, who wore the black pants, who did the Canadian destroyer. They'll remember the pirate or the Indian, and they'll go away and that's who they'll remember. So that's why I do that.
So in 2015, I started Full Force Wrestling. It's a very family-run business. So me and my mum will go out, postering, we'll do door-to-door flyering. My mum and nan will do the merchandise, the tickets on the door, to my dad making sure the entrance screens are up and running for the wrestlers making their entrance. Girlfriends of wrestlers, referees, helping. I think I've noticed that's what's made Full Force get that much better in the last year or so. That it's more of a team feel and everyone kind of wanted to go in the same direction.
So I set Iron Fist up because in my area there's nothing like wrestling. At the time there was no wrestling in Hereford. or Tenbury Wells or Worcester. So in that area there was nothing wrestling related going on, so I set it up and it was well attended and it's stuck around ever since. Financially, Iron Fist has completely broken me. I sometimes think or look back on if I didn't have Iron Fist or I wasn't in wrestling, just how much money I would have saved, how much money I would have had. I could have gone on so many really nice holidays. I could have had a nice car, a nice house, but instead I spent it all on lycra and wacky costumes and wacky sets and props for Iron Fist wrestling that people just, why are you spending that much money on these stupid things? It's because I love it and I just want to put on a really good show, and that's where my money goes.
Do you have any regrets of doing that, or would you not?
If anything, I would have done it all sooner. Well, yeah.
A lot of people say it was a big boom period, where, yeah, there's a big boom period if you're the right person, but then there is a lot of other people in the country what don't get the opportunities they deserve.
It's the ego that comes with being a wrestler. Some people, it goes to their head. Some people don't know where their wrestling character stops and where their real life persona begins. Some people think they're a badass in real life and they forget that what we do in the ring isn't real. We are all just normal people living normal lives.
I think getting to travel around the country as well and go to places you wouldn't normally go to is just great. I've got to wrestle in places like New York and America, which just to go to America, in my opinion, is pretty cool, but to be able to like wrestle when you're out there as well, that was like a dream come true. I remember being just the other side of the curtain before making my entrance, and like I don't think it really sunk in until that moment that I was about to make my entrance. I just thought, wow, like I've come from wrestling once a month for a local promotion to being literally in New York about to wrestle in a big theatre, and it was a big crowd. I think things like that, it just makes it all worth it. So I'd love to eventually maybe get a WWE tryout or even get signed to some degree, whether it be NXT UK or in WWE. I mean, that's always, I think if that's not everyone's dream in wrestling, then I don't personally understand it, because I can't think of anywhere I'd rather not be.
I don't want to work for WWE. I really wanted to, but with this UK brand now, don't get me wrong, if they offered me a job, of course I'm going to say yes. But at the moment I have no interest going there, just because of the new UK brand, the people that work there. If I'm going to be honest, I don't get on with any of them. At the moment I've got myself into this very nice, happy state of professional wrestling. I'm not saying this is where I want to be, but I just want to be happy. I just want to smile more often now, and I think if I was there, that wouldn't happen. Here in the UK, I'm very happy and very content doing the smaller shows, but I love them.
So I met Jake back in 2008, and Jake was one of the guys that actually took time to go through moves with me.
Me and Rob just click. We start talking about what we can do to help each other. Maybe we should, because we wrestle the same way, we're similar size, we train the same way, we think the same way about professional wrestling, how it should be done. Maybe we should form a team or something, maybe that'll help us.
And we've just become really, really close. We have the same humour, we're both miserable. I love teaming with him or wrestling him. I think we've got great chemistry both ways.
The rest is history. Rob's one of my closest friends, in and out of the ring. I speak to Rob more than I speak to most people. And
I love the chance of getting to perform in front of a live crowd.
The feeling you get from professional wrestling, that buzz, the adrenaline after a show.
Because I remember when I was a little kid and I used to go and watch a local wrestling show, and I used to think, I really want to do that one day. I'd be there with a foam hand or getting something signed, and if the wrestlers would be like, oh yeah, maybe one day you can get in. Well, I'm doing that now, so to be able to do that to the children nowadays, what want to follow in my footsteps or follow in all of our footsteps and wrestle, it's just a great feeling.
You've got the crowd either chanting your name or booing you, either loving this or hating that, and when you've got them in the palm of your hands, there's no feeling like it. And professional wrestling can give you the best moments of your life. You just got to be creative. Yeah, I love professional wrestling.